The story begins with a chaos, where an entire castle is engulfing in flames. There are a few warriors, who are killing the servants and the maids of the castle by stabbing them with swords. As the people are getting killed one by one, there are sounds of swords clashing could be heard. It is the protagonist of this story, and a masked man who is a warrior. As the both of them are seriously engaging in a battle to the death, the protagonist is slowly getting pushed back.
For the Empire, there is a Grand Ducal clan that protects the northernmost end of the continent. That clan is the Ragnar clan. The reason why the Ragnar clan is able to withstand themselves in that terrible place for 1,000 years, as the Great Wall, is because of their special constitution, where they are said to have inherited the dragon's blood. Every one of the Ragnar bloodline is born with exceptional magic power, stamina, and swordsmanship talent.
Everyone except the protagonist. As he was being slashed with the sword horrifyingly, the blood was spilled all around from his body. He has been kneeled to the ground by that warrior's strength. The warrior now speaks that, even at the end, where the protagonist's castle is being ruined to ashes, the protagonist is unable to learn anything. The warrior states, the people who are like the protagonist are referred to that as having no talent. As the masked man unveiled his mask, he calls the protagonist as
Young Master Theo.
Theo is confounded to see the masked man and questions him as to why he did this. The masked man, known as Rendon, extends his hand with a smirk on his face and explains that, as he is watching Theo every morning, even for Rendon, it was a pitiful sight. Because Theo is tirelessly working every day, yet there are no results from him. Rendon apprises, only fools like would believe in hard work. Then Rendon laughs out loudly and calls Theo as
Imbecile of the Ragnar clan was a perfect name for you. You should have just hid away. Moreover, it was laughable seeing you struggle, trying to make something for yourself.
Theo grits his teeth after listening to those words from Rendon, and then he thrusts his sword into the ground and yells at Rendon,
"Did you approach me to become my sword instructor and teach me all those useless sword techniques? Just to sell the Rose Palace to these damn people."
As Theo is shouting at Rendon by pressuring his vocal cord, Rendon fearlessly took the left hand off Theo, before Theo could even finish his words. Theo is screaming in pain, where his left hand is sent flying. Rendon sighs down and questions Theo.
Why do you fault me, young master?
Then he grabs Theo's hair and forces him to look at the Rose Palace to inform him. All of this has happened because of Theo's inability to protect the palace and the household members. A person is dragging a lady by grabbing her hair. She is Theo's mother. Even she is also a victim in this incident. As the man hurled Theo's mother to the ground, Rendon speaks. She is now nothing but a lifeless corpse, because Theo is the imbecile of the Ragnar clan.
In the clan predicated by the rule of the strong, you were the weakest.
After witnessing his mother like that, Theo is enraged by it, and quickly takes hold of his sword to slash down Rendon. In that moment, a sword is tossed at Theo at a very quick speed, and it stabbed Theo right through his heart. Theo is thrown aback by the force of that sword, and the person states that,
"You talk too much, Rondon. Finish it already."
Rendon then apologizes to that person, and answers, the work is almost finished. Theo's eyes are slowing closing as if his death has approached him. Moreover, the entire Rose Palace is being burned down right in front of his eyes. Tears are starting to flow from his eyes, and he ponders,
Is this truly the end? Talent. If only I possessed talent, would things have been different?
Then he closes his eyes, and the entire place is burned down. In the midst of this darkness, a thin white line appears. Then a window pops up.
You have died. Theo Ragnar, your trait has activated, returning to the regression point.
Like that, he opens his eyes, and before him is none other than Rendon, the man who killed Theo. Rendon casually says,
"You seem tired. We can end our lesson here today."
Theo can't comprehend as to what's happening, and he glances at his surroundings. He whispers to himself,
Didn't I just die? Oh, I must be having flashbacks of my life. I can't believe the face I'm flashing back to is Rondon's crap face.
Rendon is surprised that Theo is being absent-minded while he is still speaking. As Theo is processing everything slowly, the window pops up again and notifies Theo.
Tutorial quest number 1, punch Rondon in the face.
Theo is confounded to see the words which mentions to punch Rendon. His brain is still unable to process this. So he comes to a conclusion.
I guess this is how flashbacks work. Nonetheless, I don't care what I'm supposed to do. Maybe this is a gift from God giving me a chance to let out my frustrations before I go. In that moment, Theo clenched his fist, then a visible force surrounded it, twisting the air into a raging spiral as he aimed at Randon's face and struck his fist into his fist without failure.
Nothing happened. Rendon looks at Theo as if an ant had bitten him. Theo is a bit surprised because it didn't felt like a dream to him, since the punch is so realistic. In that fleeting moment, Rendon holds his sword hilt and swings it at Theo, where Theo is blown about 10 steps. Rendon reminds Theo,
I thought I said our lesson was over.
Theo is imagining, why am I experiencing pain in a dream? Then Rendon sighs down.
I understand your frustration. The awakening ceremony is fast approaching, and yet you are seeing no progress despite your efforts. Besides, as a Ragnar, you should at least use a sword, not your fist, Tesk.
Then Rendon leaves the training ground, and the nearby apprentices starts murmuring, why is the imbecile faulting his master when he is a talentless moron? Is he even a Ragnar? He's too incompetent even for an illegitimate child. Despite lashing out against his master, he is unable to even leave a tiny scratch on Rendon. After hearing their voices, Theo is being aggrieved about it, not because of their bad mouthing, since the pain he is feeling right now, and the realistic sensation. He can confirm that.
It isn't a flashback, it's real!
He thinks.
The awakening ceremony would be 10 years ago. Does that mean I've returned to when I was 17? How is this possible?
As he was thinking about it, a pop-up window appeared in front of him.
Congratulations! You have successfully completed tutorial quest number 1. As a reward, Ragnar's talent has activated.
The window questions if Theo will receive this reward now. He don't know what's happening, but he just clicks yes. At this point of time, a massive amount of energy has surrounded Theo. Soon, a white light radiates on his heart, and the window apprises all of Theo's stats will now increase at a tremendous speed. Likewise, the white light has enlarged a lot in the spiral energy. And then,
the next quest is commencing.
In the Rose Palace, a woman is having a cup of coffee, and Rendon reports he had seen countless talents in his life, yet none of them are this talentless. Nevertheless, he assures the other side by smiling brightly. He is a master who had taught several hundred people, so he will do his best to make Theo strong enough for the upcoming awakening ceremony in 5 months. The lady on the other side is Cecilia Ragnar, Theo's mother. She is filled with hope and leaves Theo in Rendon's hands to make Theo a stronger person. She then hands over the sack of money as a fee for training Theo. Even though she knows about Theo's incapability, she expresses,
I am not worried. I believe in my Theo, that he will have a bright future.
Later, Rendon walks through the corridor by pondering. Cecilia needs to worry. Although Rendon's not teaching Theo well, there is no way for any master to teach someone as useless as Theo. As he opened the sack is full of gold coins, which can be considered an exceptional pay. Furthermore, he is getting an extra bonus from a person who is not yet revealed for disclosing information about Theo and meddling with his growth. As Rendon is enjoying his pay, a person is running in the direction of Cecilia. It is the protagonist. Without even paying any attention to Rendon, he just ran beside Rendon. Rendon mutters, this loser will never learn. As Theo reached the end, and when his mother turned around at Theo instantly hugged her to express his love that he couldn't have in his previous life.
Son, you must be tired training today as well.
Tears fell like quiet raindrops, each one carrying the weight of his heart. He is really happy to regresses back to 10 years. In his past life, his mother has murdered right in front of his eyes, yet he was unable to do anything to protect his mother. Now that he had seen his mother in a healthy state, he is brimming with happiness.
I need to change the future. I'm weak without anything to my name right now, but if the mysterious system is real, I can be stronger.
He had a clear goal in this life. It is to sit on the throne of this Ragnar clan, which he couldn't even have thought in his past life. And this is not all of it. He needs to be strong enough to take against Rendon. The message has notified Theo about the second quest.
Train your body to the limit. 0% of 100%.
In the training grounds, Theo is running to the best of his limit to take revenge against Rendon. However, he can't do anything with that weak body of his, so he is prioritizing on getting stronger first. In his previous life, he is a member in a team called Blackword, which is a team relegated to the information, but Theo never had expected the information that he obtained in his past life would come in handy to him like this. There is a potion that greatly empowers the body, which is in a unique bottle, known as Bloody Sword Emperor's Elixir. And this elixir's true worth will be revealed in the future in a secret manual. On top of that, Theo has always trained all kinds of exercises and swordsmanship, but nothing made him strong at the very least to protect himself, because of his lack of talent. But now the situation is flipped upside down. As he is running at a quick speed, he can comprehend that this is all because of the Ragnar skill that he gained from the system. The quest progress has reached to 27% of 100%, and the students are flabbergasted to see Theo running like that, without taking any breaks. Theo is determined to run as much as he couldn't, and swing more than he ever swung before. He was slashing the air by swinging with the wooden sword, and the excitement can also be seen in his eyes. This time, I can really become powerful. The progress has reached to 65% of 100%. A few days later, Theo is as usually training himself for the awakening ceremony, and from the audience side, a woman is yawning by having a smoke. She is the manager of this training ground, Evelyn Nerval. As she is taking another puff, she could realize he's been working out without sleep for a few days now. The imbecile of Ragnar, huh? She could grasp one thing certainly, that Theo is not a talentless person and doesn't seem to be in any way. Theo is feeling like he could die from the exhaustion alone, and the quest has reached to 97% of 100%. He is swinging the sword with the willpower to change his fate. Then he remembers last night's incident, where Theo fell down after getting tired, and the quest, which is at 90%, dropped to 89% back. Theo's eyes popped out after realizing that he shouldn't rest at all, since the hard-earned percentage will drop again. That is what made him the will to train without sleep, to get stronger. The sweat is pouring from his eyebrow, yet he didn't rest. Within another powerful strike, he gained another percentage. His legs are shaking with fatigue, but he trained even harder only. He vowed to himself that he will suffer a little more, but he wouldn't rest or sleep until he completed this quest. As the percentage reached 99%, he is running at full speed, where a normal man would be completely dead by the exhaustion. He is almost there, just a little more. Evelyn is watching in a completely awe by the spirit that Theo is demonstrating. As Theo is dashing around the ground, where his face is full of sweat, the 99% has slowly turned into 100%, and Theo's eyes had glowed with a strange sense of emotion.
Congratulations! You have successfully completed tutorial quest number 2.
However, Theo couldn't even see the window properly, where he is almost falling down, and the message became complete blur to him. With a final, staggering breath, he dropped to his knees, then crumpled to the ground. The window questions Theo if he is willing to take the rewards right now, but he is no situation to even raise his hand, even a little. Nevertheless, he somehow managed to lift a finger, which is shivering by the exhaustion. He tapped the yes option and closed his eyes. The system has started to grant the rewards to Theo, where an otherworldly energy is being surged into Theo, which is cocooning him with the blue color aura. Evelyn is bewildered to see this, and stood up in a serious expression. Soon, the ground beneath her feet trembled by the blue aura emitting from Theo. After some time, Theo is laid on a bed, and he started to open up his eyes. Then he sits up and looks around the room. Where am I? He wondered aloud. Then Evelyn has entered the room. Her face is filled with curiosity and concern. She rest assures Theo to not worry about this place. This is the break room of training room 4, she explained.
Even a Ragnar will collapse if you push yourself like that.
Theo immediately recognized her as Evelyn, which made her surprised that he knows about her.
Yes, I am the manager of the training ground 4. You lost consciousness while training alone in the morning, so I moved you here for the time being.
His eyes widened at her, but appreciated her for helping him. She then offers him a glass of drink. As she is offering the glass of drink to Theo, she sharpened her eyes.
I guess you know that opening one's manor hall before the awakening ceremony is forbidden in the clan.
Theo answers that he knows about it, and she replies,
Then you should also know what will happen if you break that rule.
Instantly, his throat tightened, yet he maintained his composure and questions back. Why is she interrogating him when he is unrelated to the matter? At that moment, she glares at Theo with murderous intent.
Right before you lost consciousness, a mana wave occurred that aligns with the opening of the mana hall. Did you perhaps open your mana hall, young Master Theo?
Theo is surprised about this sudden wave of questions at him. Theo believes that, if he were to open his mana hall, he wouldn't be alive right now. Then a light emitted from his heart, which no one could see. Then a memory had wandered back to his mind, where, right after he had collapsed due to exhaustion, he selected a reward which would grant him the dragon heart. Furthermore, he even obtained a bonus reward which is 10 years of his past life's magic power is granted to him. Slowly, his lips, which are normal, widened with exhilaration that he obtained a dragon heart.
Dragon heart, it is a place that is used to store a mana hall. Placing a mana hall in the heart makes it operate efficiently, but humans who are not dragons couldn't handle the extreme amount of power from the dragon's heart. So they place this dragon heart in their lower abdomen. That is the reason why every Ragnar desires to have a dragon heart, since it makes the user to become overwhelmingly powerful, yet humans have not been able to surpass the physical limitations and possess a dragon heart for themselves.
Right now, such a treasure has been granted as a reward by the system to him. At the same time, Theo is in an awkward situation here. Evelyn is a high-ranked swordsman within the Ragnar family. She retired from her position only because her losing an arm during a battle. But if it isn't for that arm, she is the commanding officer who once led a group called White Armored Dragon Cavalry. Besides, she was so skilled that a demon dragon, who can be considered as a fearsome person in the Ragnar clan, had acknowledged her for her innate ability. Furthermore, Evelyn is known as a principled person, where she doesn't care about the status or strength, that she couldn't tolerate dishonesty or cowardice from other people. Theo now sharpens his eyes and sweat is flowing down to his cheek. He could guess that, if she figures about my dragon heart's mana hall here, I will for sure be eliminated according to the Ragnar's rules. He then smiles for a faint moment by pondering what if he don't get caught. He instantly raises his voice.
Are you sure you can handle the consequences of talking to a Ragnar clan's direct heir about execution, just because of your momentary feeling?
By the expression of Theo, Evelyn flinched a bit because of his straightforwardness and confident way of speaking.
I am also an heir of Ragnar. If they find out that your suspicions are baseless and false, this could be taken as defiling the Ragnar name.
Evelyn accepts the punishment if her suspicions are false. Theo now looks at her with a cold-blooded eyes.
The punishment for this incident is immediate execution, and now that you are so sure about yourself, why don't you go ahead and check?
Evelyn's eyes slightly trembled after hearing how monstrous Theo's words felt to her. Nonetheless, she believed in her intuition and infused mana into her palm. Then please excuse me while I check. She mutters.
Even if he is of Ragnar's bloodline, rules are rules.
As she placed her palm on Theo's abdomen, Theo's heart is beating rapidly. Because what if she finds out about his secret? Will he die again? In that point of time, a white light has radiated around the room, which is like the dragon heart. But nothing happened. It was just her hand on his abdomen. She couldn't feel nor sense any kind of magical energy from Theo. He doesn't have a mana hall. Then what is the tremendous energy from last night I felt? In that situation, a surplus of questions have popped up in her mind. I was wrong. That's not possible. Theo with serious expression questions her.
So, what happened to your suspicion and curiosity? Is it cleared now?
Without wasting a single moment, she kneeled in front of Theo. Please excuse me. It appears that I was wrong. I will pay for my sin with my lowly life. Her voice quivered, and for a moment, she truly seemed like broken by her error. Theo smiled calmed, because he is still in possession of this situation. He whispers to himself, of course there can't be one.
Dragon hearts are different from ordinary mana halls. Since a dragon's heart is freely controlled by the user, the existence itself can be manipulated by the user as they wish. In other words, Theo can easily hide his mana at will. In addition to, the fact that humans can have a dragon's heart will only be revealed after a few years from now on.
Therefore, there is no way for Evelyn to figure out any mana from Theo. As he extends his hand to eliminate Evelyn, He just pats on her shoulder.
No need to worry. You only did what you have to.
Evelyn's eyes widen with surprise. And Theo continues speaking. There aren't many who would risk their lives for a momentary feeling. Theo is pondering. Evelyn is one of the strongest, so it'll be his benefit to have Evelyn on his side. Then he turns back and describes, the Ragnar clan has this rule because if a person were to overflow with mana hall, it would cause quite a stir in the clan. Therefore, how can Theo, who is an imbecile of the Ragnar, could overflow with his mana hall? So he appreciates Evelyn for thinking of him in such a high manner. Even Evelyn herself is stunned after hearing those words from Theo. As Theo is walking in the corridor, he is overflowed with happiness after realizing that the system granted him a dragon heart and 10 years worth of magic from his previous life, where one thing is guaranteed, that he will be for sure become an overwhelmingly powerful this time. A few days later, Rendon is barking like a dog about Theo's wrong movements in training his sword. Theo is actually getting more and more stronger, yet he is pretending to be weak in front of Rendon because he doesn't want to show his prowess until a certain time. Besides, Theo is cursing Rendon, since Rendon is actually teaching Theo wrong movements. And when Theo is slowly correcting them, Rendon is blocking Theo, that he should do as Rendon taught him only. Theo can be certain about one thing. There is a hidden master behind Rendon. Moreover, in his past life, there is a person who killed Theo with a unique sword technique that Theo could never forget about it. He is fixated to find the culprit behind his death, so in order to do that, there is only one way. Theo grins after having a plan in his mind. In that moment,
Theo's eyes widened with fury. In one swift motion, he snapped the wooden sword in his hand like it was nothing. The sharp crack echoed through the air. His voice cut through the tension, fierce and unshaken. I've had enough of your trash lessons, Rendon. I'm done listening to this nonsense.
For a moment there, Rendon couldn't believe what he just heard from Theo, and Theo continues as to how Rendon managed to become a mid-rank swordsman with this garbage lessons. Theo is planning to make Rendon resign from his position, so that Rendon will be unable to inform about Theo to the person who is giving him commission for this mission. Likewise, Theo moves forward and stands face to face against Rendon to say, Rendon will even struggle against a low-ranked beast with this type of skills that he taught to Theo until now. Now Rendon's annoyance turns into fury and raises his voice at Theo to shut up. At Camellia Palace, which is another one like Rose Palace, a person barged into a room with a happy and surprised expression. He informs the news about happened in the Rose Palace between Theo and Rendon to a person called Axion. The person states, Theo is going to have a duel with Rendon next week, because Theo is unsatisfied with the training he is receiving from Rendon. In that fleeting moment, a mug that Axion is holding is hurled towards that person who entered the room. His face is bleeding from the damage, and he falls to the ground unconscious. Axion is furious because Theo is an opponent for him, so it doesn't matter to him, even if Theo becomes a cripple. This person is called Axion Ragnar, is one of the 4 hounds of the Ragnar clan, known as Dark Tiger. The person who is guarding Axion is Remington Narcio, one of the 4 hounds, known as Silver Lion. At this point, a person makes his entry into the room, called Ed Trovian, the 9 dragons of the Ragnar family, known as Sky Dragon. Ed explains to Axion, it does matter, since one should never let their guard down. Axion argues, what Ed said right now implies to only people who have talent. Remington bows down his head to greet Ed. Ed advises, in the Ragnar family, unprecedented things can happen from the slightest possibility, where even a flame in the wind can ablaze at any time. Axion speaks to his uncle Ed. It is a good thing for them, since Rendon will take care of Theo without them intervening. A week later, in the training ground 4, which looks like a large stadium, people from the Ragnar clan, who are still apprentices, Evelyn, and a mysterious person in the shadows where one of his eye is glowing red, are here to spectate the match between Theo and Rendon. Theo had taken the fighting stance, and is imagining, he never thought that things would come here. Because he anticipated to fire Rendon after humiliating him, but things have taken a different route. Theo is organizing his thoughts, he can't do nothing about it, so he plans to fight Rendon with all he got. The message pops with a new quest, tutorial quest number 3, fight Rendon, and win.
Theo's fists trembled as rage surged through him. His eyes locked onto Rondon like a predator eyeing its prey. Every step he took was heavy with murderous intent. He would bring Rondon down, no matter the cost.
A week before, when Theo nonchalantly told Rendon to pack his bags and get out from the Ragnar clan, Rendon is so furious that he cannot accept this kind of treatment because the contract for master and disciple is still active. And Theo is leaving the training ground after he fired Rendon. He declares,
"No contract will stand up when the employer states that the worker is fired."
Theo sharpened his eyes and is surmising he is not confident in his skills yet. Otherwise, he would have already beaten Rendon to death. So he is scheming to get himself distanced from Rendon, to gather more information about Rendon. Rendon has flinched due to fear of getting fired, as a consequence of his mission ending in failure. Now Rendon takes a step forward, and is convincing Theo to revise his opinion once again. Without listening to Rendon's words, Theo is leaving. At that time, a window pops up, which notifies Theo about the third quest, where Theo needs to fight and win against Rendon. After seeing this, Theo is surprised and don't know what to do. Then, Evelyn comes ahead and recommends an idea, which is, Rendon and Theo could both resolve this matter in the Ragnar's way. The both of them now turn their head at Evelyn, and inquiries about this Ragnar's way. Evelyn implies the rule of the strong, where the debate will be decided with a sword match. The victor of the sword match will have their say, and the loser has to obey the victor disregarding the contract. After hearing those words, Rendon got a smile on his face immediately and agrees to Evelyn's recommendation. Theo's eyes have enlarged due to the shock of hearing Evelyn's idea, and the match will be after a week from today only. Evelyn, with a cheering smile, takes it as a yes from Theo and announces about their match. Rendon is full of confidence because he can beat Theo without much effort, and Theo is still in a disbelief that he cannot win against Rendon. Now coming to present, in the arena, the students are communicating. Theo can't even properly wield a sword, so they are rooting for Rendon in this match. Since Theo is called a Ragnar's imbecile, they are sure Theo couldn't take down Rendon, who is a mid-rank swordsman. Rendon expresses Theo to withdraw at least now, so that he wouldn't care about the past and treat Theo as usual. Theo simply rejects it, and with strong presence, he recommends Rendon to get lost right now, if Rendon wishes to have both of his hands intact. Rendon smiles bitterly and is frustrated at Theo that he is planning to kill Theo by making it seem like a mistake. Rendon's eyes are filled with malice, due to the match has been already decided. Rendon offers Theo to make the first strike, since Rendon is a teacher. Without any hesitation, Theo charged at Rendon like a rampaging bull by holding his sword tightly. As Rendon also prepared himself, the nearby audience were shocked after seeing something. The fact is, it isn't really something great, it is just that Theo is exactly moving like an imbecile, but acted like he had some plan. As Theo is somehow managing to block the sword strikes from Rendon, Rendon questions as to what happened to the audacity that Theo displayed before. Rendon is undoubtedly sure about Theo's prowess. He thought Theo had a master plan, but after looking at Theo's swordsmanship, he comprehended that it was a bluff. Rendon ponders that, if Theo is at the level of the four hounds, things would have been different. Prior to this match, Theo met Evelyn at her dorm to inquire why she recommended a useless idea like that. As Evelyn is having some coffee, she replies that she is helping Theo, because if Theo wants to cut off Rendon completely, firing Rendon is not the best plan. She discloses that Rendon is being backed up by a higher-up. Theo is surprised that Evelyn knows about Rendon as well, so he asks her as to how knows that. She answers, she found about Rendon since he was teaching Theo a weird sword style. Even she herself is stunned after looking at Rendon's way of teaching. Then she had someone investigate about Rendon secretly. Theo is surprised again due to, in his past life, Evelyn never intertwined in Theo's matter when Rendon is teaching him fake sword arts. There can be only one reason, which is about the Manor Hall incident. Evelyn then puts her cup down and reveals about the investigation. All of Rendon's traces have led to Camellia's palace, which belongs to Axion. Theo is gritting his teeth due to anger, because if what Evelyn said is true, that all that struggle he went through at his last moments in his past life, was merely a plan of Camellia's palace to get rid Theo from Ragnar's succession. However, it doesn't change the fact where Theo defeating Rendon is possible even with all the information he had from his past life. So he probes Evelyn for a way to defeat Rendon. Evelyn then smiles at Theo and states, there is indeed a way to defeat Rendon. Rendon is like a fox, smiling creepily and attacking Theo. Even at this moment, Rendon still offers Theo that if Theo kneels down and begs for mercy, Rendon might forgive him. When Rendon used some of his force to his sword strike, Theo still blocked it somehow. Now this had raised a doubt in Rendon's mind, because no matter how many strikes Rendon is pulling against Theo, all of them have been fended off by Theo. From their battle, as their swords clashing each other, fire sparks are blowing, and air around them is moving like a swirl. Slowly, Rendon's face is becoming bitter as he is witnessing Theo's skills grown up so much. Since the Theo that Rendon knows cannot defend himself like this, the audience are flabbergasted since it doesn't look like Theo is being pushed back. Also, he somehow fends off Rendon's attacks. Evelyn is eating a lollipop and is enjoying the match. Back to the past, Evelyn responds 1 week is enough. If she were to personally train Theo for a week, he'll for sure be able to suppress someone like Rendon. While ignoring the teacher as per the contract, and teaching Theo is going against the rules. Nevertheless, to suppress an evil being like Rendon, they can break rules sometime. Theo grins with satisfaction after hearing that Evelyn, one of the high-ranked swordsmen, to train him. Yet, there is still one doubt. It is the reason for her to help him, by even breaking the rules, which is unlike her. She clarifies, it is because of the Manor Hall incident, and there is a certain someone she knows, who is obsessed with talented people like Theo. As Rendon is swinging his sword heavily, Theo is blocking it, and the both of them are clashing their swords equally. Rendon's face is full of surprises and shocks, because he never predicted that Theo is acting like a fool this whole time, and now he bared his fangs outside. Theo now interrogates Rendon as to who is backing him. Rendon just strikes off Theo forcibly, and acts like he didn't know what Theo is talking about. Theo, without making this topic length, straightforwardly asks if it is the Camellia Palace. And Rendon's jaw dropped at that instance. So with this, Theo could confirm Rendon is indeed working for Axion.
It was at this moment that Theo took a different stance and questioned Rondon. Do you know how it feels to have your arm chopped off? While Rondon stood in disbelief, Theo's sword had already reached his armpit, slicing off his arm completely. Blood gushed violently from Rondon's body. As the severed arm hung in midair, Rondon could feel Theo's murderous intent, raw and wild, like that of a savage beast. The audience was left stunned and speechless. Rondon screamed in agony from the loss and collapsed to his knees, overwhelmed by pain. Theo approached, his presence brimming with certainty. He had grown immensely strong and believed he could become even stronger. Theo then reminded Rondon of something he once said, that Theo's weakness had led to the fall of Rose Palace and the death of his mother, but Rondon couldn't comprehend it, because those were the very words he had spoken to Theo in a past life. Theo raised his sword again and declared, "It is your fault that you are dying here today, and of the Ragnars who believe in the rule of the strong, you are the weakest." Repeating the exact words Rondon once told him, Theo ferociously took the head of the man who had killed his mother. As blood swirled around Theo's blade, a window popped up.
Quest complete. Objective 3 cleared.
The onlookers were left in awe after witnessing the match. The mysterious man, too, was clearly satisfied. For exceeding the mission objective, Theo received a bonus reward. Theo was like a beast unleashed, a starving dragon which has started its meal after a long time to devour the prey that comes in its way. Theo accepts the bonus reward, and from this moment forward, he is starting to get his revenge for his mother and to obtain the throne of the Ragnar clan.